Hi guys, Michael Butler here with Average to Alpha. Today I'd like to talk to you about 7 steps to mastery. That is 7 steps for acquiring any new quality, characteristic, attribute, or skill that you may want. We'll talk in terms of masculine qualities. I think for simplicity's sake, things like strength, courage, mastery, honor, assertiveness, productivity, or authenticity. But the same steps apply to learned skills as well. I'll give you the 7 steps up front now, and then I'm going to unpack each of them in detail. I've got a lot of information to give you, so please know up front that this presentation is going to be dense. So the 7 steps are: you can't experience the quality as part of your own resources. Step 2, you identify or locate the golden quality you're looking for. 3, you begin to experience the quality in yourself. Number 4, you develop the courage to do the work you need to achieve competence. Number 5, you achieve a basic journeyman level of competence in the quality. Number 6, you gain mastery of it. And number 7, you're able to steward the quality for the benefit of others. So that's the overview of what I'm going to talk about in this video. As I say, we're going to take it step by step, and it's going to be a little dense. Let's dive right in. So for the first step, you can't experience the quality as part of your own resources. It's just not part of your repertoire. Sometimes you discover this in the heat of the moment. You have a situation where you need to be strong, and you can't. Or you need to assert yourself, and instead you fold and let somebody else walk all over you. Or you find yourself in a charged conversation and you lose your cool. Can you relate? Any of these kinds of events can show you where you're coming up short, where you're lacking some quality that you know that you need. Sometimes it's not a situation or event that you aren't prepared for that shows you where you're falling short. Okay, sometimes we reach a point in life where life just isn't working anymore. You've reached a natural transition point in your life. If you're growing and maturing as a person, it happens about every 3 to 7 years. So it's actually something to welcome when it does happen. If you're in a life transition, you'll know it by a sense of unease, of dis-ease, of longing or of emptiness. You'll feel like there's something missing, but you can't quite put your finger on it. You want more, but you're not sure more of what. You feel vaguely uneasy or dissatisfied with your life. You could almost call it a kind of pain. And if you refuse to confront this dis-ease or this pain and deal with it, you will try to regress in your personality. That means you'll try to go back to what used to work for you in hopes that it will still work for you now. You'll be in retreat. And we all know, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got, and you won't make any progress. But what does it look like when we regress? You'll sink back into jealousy and envy of the people who do possess the very thing that you're lacking. Or you'll be jealous of people who seem to have their lives together. You'll project your inadequacies onto other people. You will live in anxiety and chaos because you're not living your best life, and very often you engage in compulsive behaviors. This is where a lot of weed, alcohol, gaming, and porn use come into play. Clearly, regression is not the best solution. Running away from your problems or trying to self-medicate them away doesn't work in the long term. Maybe some of you are experienced with regression. Leave a comment below, if you know what I'm talking about. On the other hand, if you are willing to deal with your longing or confront your pain, if you're willing to stand in the fire and find out what it has to teach you, then you can become a seeker. This is when you start looking around for help. This is when you start Googling and you find me and other men's content providers, self-help specialists, coaches, personal trainers, and the like. If the longing is deeper or existential, this is where you start looking for Christ and His church or for some other form of spirituality. Okay, so that's the first step. You cannot experience the quality as part of your own resources. Step 2, you identify or locate the golden quality that you're looking for. Aha! You found it what it is that you're missing. You know what it is. At this point, however, you can only experience it in projected form. You know what it is, but it's out there. It only exists in another person, or in some object that fascinates you, or in some institution. There are myriad examples of this. For example, orbiting a woman. That is, when you put a woman or women in general on a pedestal and think that a woman will satisfy all your needs or make your life complete. Or when you think you have found the one woman who will complete you. All right? It can also look like idealizing another man. And that may be some sports ball player or a superhero from Marvel or Chad or some other alpha male fantasy figure in real life or in fantasy. All right. 3, it could look like orbiting other men, which is also known as fanboyism. And I've seen guys do this in the gym, at work. You know, the guys who are heavy sports fans and they wear a sports ball jersey with another man's name and number on it. Okay? The thinking here works like this. That man has qualities that I admire and want, and maybe if I get close to him, some of it will rub off on me. It can work sometimes, but it can also be really annoying to the man that you're orbiting. Okay? We have to be real careful of this kind of orbiting, all right? Because if it takes place in a religious setting, what you end up with are those guys who, give unquestioning obedience to some religious authority. If you're interested in politics, this is where you become a true believer in the cause, whatever the cause may happen to be. And I'm going to be really politically incorrect here and suggest that projecting some golden quality onto another man might be the basis of some homosexual attraction. In short, when you project it, you have found the lost part of yourself, but it's out there. From this point on, the challenge you're going to face is to internalize it, to master it, and to steward it. Because really, the golden quality isn't just out there. It also lives in you. So that's step 2. You identify or locate the golden quality that you're looking for. Step 3 is you begin to experience the quality in yourself. Once you've found the quality that you need, you start to play around with it. Test it. Try it out. See how well it works. You get a taste of what it is you're looking for. You experience the quality as a potential for yourself. You try being courageous. Or you manage to keep your cool in a tense situation. Or you're able to be assertive with that pushy coworker. Or you have a really productive day and you look back and are amazed at everything that you got accomplished. This experience can be extremely powerful, and it often leads to a kind of psychological inflation. We've seen the type, Jim Bro with imaginary lat syndrome, or the guy who loses his virginity at last and thinks he's a player, or the guy who's promoted to management who becomes the office tyrant. And believe me, I know about new hospital residents who think that they're God's gift to medicine. Okay? This all comes from a flooding of unregulated psychological energy. It's a delusion. It's a kind of possession. And it takes over. It's unregulated because you can't control it yet. Rather, it controls you. This is the stage of unconscious incompetence. You're still incompetent with this quality. You don't even know it. But you think you're hot stuff because you've tasted it. If you know the story of the Sorcerer's Apprentice, this is what's going on here. Okay? This stage will end quickly, we hope, as soon as reality hits. That is, the reality is that the potential quality you are experiencing will need real cultivation and development if you're going to use it effectively, and that's going to take a lot of work. So step number 3 is you begin to experience the quality in yourself. Step 4 is this. You develop the courage to do the work you need to achieve competence. This is the stage of conscious incompetence. In some psychologies, it's called achieving the depressive position. That is, you get past your delusion that you're the hot stuff and you start to confront the real work you will need to do to improve yourself. You come face to face with the fact that it's going to take twice as much work, twice as much time, and twice as much effort as you thought it was going to take in the beginning. At this stage, you're going to need a couple of things that you're going to have to deal with. First, your shame, and second, sadness. First, your shame, because you're going to realize just how stupid and naive you were in the first place to think that this was going to come easy. And in the second place, sadness, because you realize the real cost you're going to have to pay if you want the quality or the skill that you're after. And you need to deal with your shame and sadness in a constructive way and not wallow in victimization and self-pity. A lot of guys get stuck here. Oh, poor, poor, pitiful me. Oh, life is too hard. I can't do this. Oh, it's too much work. This is why in the first place you've got to have courage. And this is why I always start my coaching with courage. In addition to courage, you're going to learn a couple of other things. You're going to learn true humility. You're going to have to acknowledge your limits and get the help that you need. Few men are able to do this kind of work alone. You're going to need backup and support. And thirdly, this is where you're going to have to learn how to grind. To keep your mouth shut and do the work. Whether we're talking inner work on your soul, or quitting that addiction, or doubling down on the schoolwork, or hitting the gym, or starting that side hustle, it doesn't matter. You shut up and grind. So you need to learn to be courageous, to be humble, and how to grind. Okay, that's step 4. You develop the courage to face the work necessary to achieve competence in the quality that you're after. Now let's talk about step 5. You achieve a basic journeyman level of competence. This is the stage of conscious competence. You've managed to get good enough to handle the quality well. In the Pareto principle, this is the 20% of effort that delivers 80% of your results. You land that job you wanted. You sell that first piece of artwork. You've been grinding at the gym for a couple of months now, and finally some cute chick notices that you've got nice arms. Okay? When you begin to gain a little competence, a few things are going to happen. These are signs that you're making progress, so watch out for them. First, shame and anxiety are going to go down. You're going to start building some self-esteem around this quality. You start to think, maybe I can do this. Number 2, you're going to be idealizing others less. You're going to quit seeing other men as competitors and start seeing them as your peers. In other words, you quit your beta orbiting. And number 3, you begin to admire other people who have mastered the quality or the skill that you're developing. You discover that those huge guys at the gym aren't really so scary anymore. And that one IT guy who can code more elegantly than you can, he's actually pretty cool when you get to know him. This level of development might be good enough for some qualities, skills, or personality attributes. Most men will stop here, and that's okay for some things. A good enough competence works for a lot of things, but if we're talking about your vision, or your mission in life, or maybe your core values, it won't be enough. You need to press on to the next level, which is mastery. So step 5 is a basic journeyman level of competence. Now let's talk about step 6. You gain mastery of the quality. This is where you push yourself into the top 10% or the top 5% or the top 1% of men in that aspect of life. This is the level of unconscious competence. At this point, you've got that quality down so well. It is so much a part of you that you no longer even have to think about it. You just live it. You're able to incorporate the quality into the flow of your personality so that it seems effortless to others. There'll be a kind of spontaneity and effectiveness to what you do that's beyond anything you were able to do before. You will seem like a natural because, in fact, now it is natural to you. So that is step 6, mastery. But there is a 7th step, and that is you are able to steward it no longer just for your own wants and needs, but for the benefit of others. And this is what we really need in the world today, men. Mature, generative, integrated men. Men who support each other. Men who have each other's backs. Men who offer their masculine qualities and attributes as gifts to make themselves stronger, their families stronger, their communities stronger, and ultimately the whole world a better place. When you reach this step, you become a blessing to everybody around you. So those are the 7 steps for acquiring any new quality, characteristic, attribute, or skill, and bringing it all the way from not even knowing what you want, all the way down to stewarding it as a gift for others. I'd really like to see you do that in your own life, regardless of how old you are or what issue you're dealing with. I want to see you become the best man that you can be. And if I can be helpful, you let me know. Thanks for watching or for listening. Leave some feedback in the comments below if you would. Now get out there and crush the rest of your day, because, after all, who really wants to be average?